Blog Talk Radio.
Greetings and salutations unto that infinite, unlimited, undefinable aspect of our true self. This is your Hemp-Aware host, Tyler Hemp, broadcasting with Hemp-Aware Radio from the green state of California. Our purpose here at Hemp-Aware Radio is really to bring valuable, rich, usable knowledge and information, especially for those of you that are wanting to live a healthier, happier, wealthier, and more fulfilling life. And hemp is our crucial key to that success. So that's why we're bringing you the most inspirational, knowledgeable, and experienced hemp experts in the world. And on this Hempisode, I'm really looking forward to interview a man who I see as being an entrepreneur, a world traveler, a hemp and health advocate, and an exemplary pioneer, Michael Klepacz. I think I got it wrong. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here, bro.
Thank you, man. It's good to be here. You definitely got it right.
Okay, great. I practiced before. And I love, language. I love making my mouth move in new ways because our language is directly connected, to our ability to manifest in the world. And I know you're somebody who, is a marketer, a brander, a designer, and you appreciate so many things, similarly to what I do. So I'm really looking forward to today's show. Thanks for being here, man.
Absolutely.
So, to introduce you to our listeners, if they haven't heard of you, tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you've developed a few different products and have had different experiences in the hemp world. Give us a little synopsis of your background. What introduced you, or how did you get introduced to hemp, and why are you so inspired to work with it?
Oh man, it's a long journey. I'm 30 years old, and I would say I was first introduced by my mom. Actually, she's an artist, mostly a painter actually, but some of her projects involve twine, so I would spend a lot of time with her at the arts and crafts and stuff. And at the time in the late 90s, early 2000s, macrame was super popular, and so I wanted to make my own necklaces and bracelets and stuff. And I was just amazed how strong hemp was. And me being quite young at the time, I didn't even tie quote marijuana with hemp at all. To me, they weren't even the same thing. I didn't even know that they were the same thing until probably my late teenage years, actually. I didn't realize that cannabis, marijuana, and hemp were the same thing. Now I call everything cannabis. To me, everything's cannabis, or hemp. I don't like the term marijuana.
I agree. Yeah, it's kind of a demonized word, and as we kind of introduced the show, words are powerful, and you're right, cannabis is a more friendly term that refers to every aspect of the plant. And you're in Poland, right? You're calling from Warsaw. Is that where you're located?
That's true. I am in the capital city of Poland, Warsaw, the 9th largest city in Europe.
That is awesome. Well, I look forward to getting into some Polish hemp history and hearing about the industry. But before we do, I want to just give a nice plug for one of your wonderful products. It's called Pocket Hemp. If you haven't seen it, check out pocketwick.com. It's an awesome product. You're kind of changing the way that it's dispensed, and there's a lot of hemp wick companies out there that are doing different things. But tell us what inspired you to develop Pocket Wick, and what makes yours different from other products on the market.
All right. Well, that's a fairly simple question, actually. So after I got out of the military, which actually beat me up pretty bad, I was medically discharged from the military. I was taking a bunch of steroids and other quote-unquote pharmaceutical medicines for pain management and stuff. And so I ended up moving to medical marijuana, and I got introduced to hemp wick by one of my friends. I was always into organic food, and so I was always looking for better ways to burn, and so I got into hemp wick, and then I attempted to make a hemp wick dispenser with a guy in Colorado. He wanted to go the petrochemical route, and I didn't really agree, amongst other things, so I sort of split off, and I looked at the hemp wick market and how people are paying so much money per foot of a waxed hemp string, and really what I wanted to do was develop a product that had good packaging, that didn't need a dispenser to make it convenient, and that was finally priced in a way that people would give it a chance to use it. And so not only is it priced well, but we're giving our employees, they make as much as a master's graduate student makes after getting out of college here in Poland, so they love me for that, and we donate some of our proceeds to colony collapse disorder for bees. So it's just we're trying to make change by changing this product,
I love that. There's so many aspects of your brand and your company that I appreciate. Not only are you keeping it local, the locavore style, trying to produce, not only trying, but producing the hemp from Poland and manufacturing in Poland, providing jobs for local people, but you're also connecting to the global economy, which is, I feel the future is all about these microeconomies being able to have global distribution and bringing it back to the small farmers, to the small business operations to get global, notoriety or recognition. And I love your the colors too. You got the Rasta colors to get the message out there, and really cool branding. And I love that you're supporting the bee colonies. You're giving back, not only utilizing what products that the bees can give us, but you're giving back to them, and with the charity that you're involved with. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. So
you can actually
go ahead.
I was going to say, you can actually go, if you go to pocketwick.com, there's a charity tab, and you can see a list of all of the charities that we've found. Every time we find a new bee charity, we add it to the list. So it's always being updated with a new bee charity.
Excellent. Well, definitely, listeners, go check out pocketwick.com. If you need some bulk pocket wick, give us a ring at 805-410-4367, and we can definitely fulfill your orders and answer any questions you might have. If you have a dispensary or a grocery store, a craft store, pocket wick is a product that's not just for utilizing to consume herbs, but it's also a very versatile product for many other things. Mike, tell us some other great uses for pocket wick.
I would say my favorite use of pocket wick would be the fact that I can really easily build a fire with it. I'm quite the outdoors person. I got a organic farm and stuff like that, and my preferred way to take a bath after a hard day's work is to go swim in the pond near my farm. And so usually before I go swimming, I have to light a fire first, but it's so humid and muggy over here, sometimes it's hard to get the kindling going. So I always use a couple of inches of hemp wick to really get the fire burning well.
Yeah, and I literally just yesterday I went on the Facebook page for Pocket Wick, and I saw that little minute and a half video. You just kind of took maybe like a foot or two and just coiled it up into a little ball, and you lit it right up, and it burned for over a minute. I completely concur that's a great use for it. And you've also talked about like tying up plants in the garden or other applications as well. Starting your stove range on the stove there. What are some other uses that you like?
Well, on the farm, it's a really old place, and so I actually have a on-demand gas water heater. And every time I need to take a shower, I have to light the pilot light. Unfortunately, my hands are too big to actually fit into the gas heater to reach in there with a lighter. So I just take a couple of inches of pocket wick and I straighten it out and I light the end and reach it all the way to the back of the gas heater, and that's how I turn on my on-demand heater for my showers. And then it might sound silly, but I essentially have what looks like a taser for lighting the stove on my stove, or for lighting the fire on the stove on my farm. So instead of using this, I mean, it's literally a taser. To light the gas, I use pocket wick now because it's just, I feel like with the metal top oven and me standing there in socks in my kitchen on the farm, I really prefer the hemp wick. It's much safer for me, you know, and I like the hair on my hands, you know.
Exactly, right. And safety first, and keeping it organic is also a crucial value I know that we both share. So that's awesome. So let's get into a little bit of the Polish history. Tell us, you know, where Poland has come from, as far as, you know, how long has that been growing hemp? What are some of the uses? Obviously, hemp can be grown for fiber uses. It can be grown for seed. It can be grown for flour. What are some of the uses, and what is some of the history of Poland as far as hemp goes?
Oh man, well, that's like, it's totally a roller coaster. You know, currently Europe, including Poland, is kind of leading the world with hemp that's being used for hempcrete and the construction industry, and also the automotive industry. You know, there's a lot of you've had some guests before who were talking about how vehicle manufacturers are using hemp composites in their vehicles, and Poland is no exception. And so basically what we have is a plant that's been used since antiquity. It's been estimated that somewhere around the 15th or 16th century, hemp really got into Europe, same for Poland. And so what's really interesting for me, especially when you actually look at the China today produces about 40,000 tons of hemp fiber a year, and that is actually how much Poland used to produce. So in the late 1920s, Poland had over 70,000 acres of hemp, and it peaked at about 74,000 acres. But then when you fast forward to 2003, because after the fall of communism, a lot of industries just completely fell through, including the textile industries here.
The late 80s, 1989 or something like that?
The late 80s, early 90s, during the fall of communism, that transition, a lot of industries fell through, and at minimum, in 2003, actually, according to the data, there was only like 250 acres of hemp being grown in Poland. So we went from like 74,000 acres all the way down to 250, because it was essentially just used for research, because the Institute of Natural Fibers and Medicinal Plants here in Poznan, which is a couple hours away from Warsaw, they kept the hemp ball rolling, but the industry just fell out. And so now it's actually on the rebound, and in 2008 there was about 4,000 acres, and it's been rising slowly ever since. So we're trying to breathe life back into the hemp industry here. But it's really interesting, though, that hemp in Poland, since the 1960s, they've actually developed 5 different varieties of monoecious hemp, which is really cool. You know, we kind of know of it as ditchweed because it's both male and female. And the best part is, with the monoecious variety, is when you're harvesting for fiber and seed, you're not harvesting a bunch of dead males and a bunch of seeded females. So it's essentially a very uniform crop once it goes into a monoecious variety as opposed to dioecious.
Interesting. That's really neat. So tell me a little bit more about the characteristics of these 5 different cultivars that they've developed.
Well, the main variety, which came around the late 60s, is called, and I'll say it slowly, Białobrzeskie. And essentially, it's just kind of named after the region where it was developed. You know, the best part about all hemp, not only Białobrzeskie, is the fact that it requires no pesticides, no herbicides, no fertilizers, and even no irrigation to grow well. And because of the climate here and how those varieties have adapted, Even during the terrible drought that we had this year, the hemp was still getting, more than 6 feet tall. I've seen hemp that was around, 6 to 10 feet tall this year. Sometimes it's usually taller. Last year was a great growing season. This has been a really strange year. It was a very warm winter, a very cool spring, a very dry summer, and a very abruptly cool late summer, early fall. So this has been a really interesting. Actually, the last 24 months for growing has been kind of strange. But the hemp variety here, it gives about, I think, a half a ton of seed per acre. It does pretty good as far as fiber output for the herd fiber, and everything for the automotive industries. And basically all of the hemp here is not grown for textiles. So we don't grow hemp for making fabrics and stuff like that. We mostly grow hemp for seed. And a lot of that seed is actually used in other places like Romania for growing hemp for fiber in a different climate zone where they can actually do 2 fiber harvests per year because it's a little bit warmer. Because hemp to really grow strong and fast requires a really hot, humid summer around June, July. So.
Interesting. So as you mentioned, the main use is for the seed. Are they turning that seed into edible oil, or what type of products are they making from the seed?
There are some that use it for fuel oil, but it's also being used in the cosmetic industry, and other places like that for sure. You can certainly find a couple of different companies around here that use the hemp oil for eating. I know that a lot of your listeners know how healthy hemp oil is with all the omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, and it's a fantastic product. It's a no-brainer. Why would you want to use canola oil or vegetable oil when you could use hemp oil? So I like hemp oil. I like coconut oil. Those are my favorites.
Definitely, those are two of my favorites as well. And on that note, speaking of the health of this plant and the healthy oils, what would you say is your most favorite health benefits of industrial hemp, out of all the different benefits it offers?
Out of all the different benefits, I would say the fact that it's the only seed that we know of that's a complete protein. You know what I mean? If you were in a hard spot, in the Middle Ages, and you were trying to survive over the winter, people survived because of hemp seed. And it's in America, people hearing that would just be like, whoa, what do you mean people survive off of hemp seed? Were they just getting high over the winter? And it's no, people. It's a legitimate, very healthy product. And so for me, I try to use hemp seed all the time. I literally have a bowl of hemp seed right here, and I just kind of sit here and I just chill and I eat it. I either toast them or I just, when I go for my hemp harvest, I always bring back a box full of hemp flowers, and I just dry them out, and I use the hemp flowers for tea, like I'm drinking right now with a little bit of milk and honey, and then I use the hemp seed, I cook it in bread, and I just eat it. Instead of sunflower seeds or cashews or something, I just sit here and eat hemp seed. I don't even bother to take the hull off, because it's a great source of fiber. You just kind of get used to it. I just love the nutty flavor.
Me too. It's most certainly, if not my favorite, one of my favorite seeds. Not only because it's nutty and flavorful, but like you said, the protein content. It has all 10 essential amino acids, including edestin or edestine, which is just important to note that edestin is where the word edible comes from. So when we eat hemp seeds that has edestin amino acid in it, the word edible comes from edestin, which means it helps make other foods more edible or digestible. So that's why it's so amazing that we can add hemp seeds not only to our savory soups and salads and smoothies, but we can make ice creams with it. We can make, tofu, hemp cheeses, and so many amazing products can come from this one seed. So it is really a miraculous seed, and it gives me just inspiration and courage and hope, knowing that there's people like you out there that are doing the work and getting hemp seeds in the ground and bringing fabulous hemp products to the market. But which kind of brings me on to my next topic. I'd love to hear, being a hemp-entrepreneur, I always love studying and researching and asking other hemp-entrepreneurs, what are some of the principles that you live by, as far as marketing, as far as doing business. Obviously, we know that you value local. We know that you value organic, sustainable business. What are some of the other maybe, non-tangible principles that you live by or apply in your business?
I suppose, the first set of principles that I go by are the principles of permaculture, which you may or may not be familiar with. For time's sake, I won't go into it, but for the listeners, I encourage you, if you're curious, to check out the permaculture principles. They're my rules to live by. But really, I kind of asked myself, the most important thing is it good? Kind of in the story of creation, God saw everything that he made, and behold, it was very good. And so I asked myself, is what I'm doing good? Most people ask themselves, if I do this, will it make me rich? And that's a very corporate way of thinking. And look at the corporate bank world. They're rich, but are they good? Heck no, they're not good, And so I want to be able to sleep at night. And so knowing that my employees, make a decent living wage, and I share the surplus with them, and knowing that my products aren't harmful to the earth, and that people are generally better for using them, and that they won't impact the earth long after I've returned to the soil, it kind of makes me happy.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome.
So it has to be
really, good. Really, yeah. And good meaning it's good for all, not one or two or three.
Right. If it's good for me, it's not good enough.
Right. Yeah, there has to be that, and that's, I think, based on my understanding of permaculture, is this symbiotic, harmonious relationship with our environment.
Exactly.
And hemp is most certainly, a plant that works so symbiotically with other plants. It's an amazing companion crop. It fixes nitrogen into the soil for future crops that you grow with it. And I love just how the abundant nature and the abundant characteristics of this plant, not only the plant itself, as far as the green leaves that it produces, the amazing flowers with all the terpenes and the cannabinoids it produces, but then, as we discussed, the seed potential and then the fiber potential, it's just such a miraculous plant. And so to translate that abundant quality into our business mindset is something that I appreciate that you've applied with Pocket Wick and with what you're doing. One of my next questions is, what do you have, as far as the future, what products do you see? If there was one product that you could develop or that you would like to see somebody develop that could be a symbol for the hemp plant, or something that was kind of universal product, what product do you see coming onto the market that could be an educational tool that was made from hemp that you could just show to anybody and say, hey, this is a sustainable product and it's brand new. And let's say they didn't know that it was hemp, but we know that it's hemp. And after the fact, after they fall in love with the product, you finally go, and it's made from hemp. And, for the people that are skeptical or maybe have been, programmed to think that cannabis is the devil's weed from hell, what product out there, would you see is like an ideal product that could educate people, but, is simple to use? I know it's a loaded question, but I'm just curious on your thoughts.
That's a tough one, but I know the kinds of products that I'm developing, but as far as a universal product that would just make it click, I wasn't going to mention this, but right now I'm working with a couple of Germans on some hemp plastic, and as you know, as we've talked in the past, I'm always looking for different manufacturers of different hemp products, and I think the best thing is, and check this out, you can buy a belt. I mean, a belt for humans to hold up your pants. Everybody uses belts. And the belt clip itself is either made out of plastic or it's made out of metal. And so I challenge the idea of, and I'm coming out with, by the way, a 100% biodegradable belt that's made out of hemp webbing as the belt and hemp plastic as the buckle. And I think that's a chill idea, and the idea is that you make something that is beautiful, useful, and well-priced that you can't argue with. And then go to wash it or look at it, and they look at the tag, because after you buy a new clothing item, you don't know if it should be washed cold, washed hot, dry cleaned, etc. They look at the tag and they say 100% hemp. Whoa, I've never worn anything that's hemp before. I think I love hemp.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great idea. You're right. Belt is kind of a universal thing. Many people utilize it, and I'm excited about that. I can't wait to get one when you produce it.
I'll send you one. Everybody wears belts now that I think about it.
It's true, at least some point in their life. And I definitely wear belts on a regular basis. I have a Liberty belt right now, and it does have a metal buckle, so I'm ready to upgrade for sure.
So I really see sustainability as a step forward, not a step back.
You're right. That's a great point. And constantly expanding, growing, evolving, becoming better, learning from our mistakes. And what a better position to be in for people like you and I, that people are waking up to how important this plant is for food, shelter, clothing, and Popular Mechanics magazine said 25,000 uses, and I think that's just the tip of the iceberg, honestly.
I agree.
But so we just have about 2 minutes left on the show. If there was one thing that you could offer our guests or our listeners that they could do today, an action that they could take today, even a free action, something that they didn't have to pull any money out of their pocket, what's one thing that they can do today to help spread awareness about the importance of utilizing this plant?
I think the best thing that anybody can do is simply go onto Google and type in hemp benefits and then click images. Find your favorite image that you found that's just info-loaded meme style, and just post it on Facebook, post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram and Tumblr and all of the other, media outlets. And don't be afraid of what people will think about a product that we have been using probably is, longer than we've been speaking to each other. You know what I mean? Like thousands of years this product has been in our world, and only within the last 70, 80 years have we been afraid to talk about it. And so this product, hemp, is real. It does real good things. It's better for us. It's better for our animals. It's better for the world. And if every single user shared a good, healthy hemp meme today and helped to spread awareness, soon this will just become common sense. And our children will wonder, how did you guys ever live without us?
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on today's show, Mike. You can visit hempaware.com/radio to visit or review all of the past hempisodes. If you want to download this podcast, just go to the iTunes podcast library, type in Hemp Aware. If you haven't checked out pocketwick.com, go check them out right now. Thank you so much, Mike, for sharing some of the Poland hemp history. We appreciate you and look forward to having you on a future hempisode.
Thanks a lot. It was fantastic.
All right. Have a hempsational day, everybody, and join us for the next Hempaware Radio hempisode, and continually get hemp-educated. Have a blessed day.